嘿嘿嘿，天子下，分你一坛。
At a later time, Wei Wuxian pondered upon the reason why his relationship with Lan Wangji wasn't good. Getting to the root of the matter, everything started when he was 15, coming to the Gusu Lan sect with Jiang Cheng to study for 3 months. There was a virtuous and prestigious elder in the Gusu Lan sect, Lan Kairan. Everyone in the cultivation world accepted 3 characteristics which described him: pedantic, stubborn, and a strict teacher who produced outstanding students. Although the first 2 points kept a lot of people at a respective distance to him, some even to the point of secret dislike, the last one made them try everything they could to send their children to study under him. He had brought up quite a number of excellent disciples of the Lan sect. As long as they stayed a few years in his classroom, no matter how pathetically useless they were when they first entered, they would at least seem to be decent when they depart, especially in terms of appearance and etiquette. There were plenty of parents who were so excited that tears flowed down their cheeks when they picked up their sons. To this matter, Wei Wuxian declared, "Do I not seem decent enough, as of right now?" Jiang Cheng replied with a great deal of foresight, "You'd definitely be a mark of shame in his entire teaching career." In that year, aside from the Yanmingjiang sect, there were also the young masters from other clans, sent to study here from parents who heard of the reputation. The young masters were all around 15 or 16. Because the sects all knew the others, although they weren't close, they had seen others' faces before. It was widely known that, although Wei Wuxian's surname was not Jiang, he was the leading disciple of the sect leader of the Yanmingjiang sect, Jiang Fengmian, and also the son of his friend who had passed away. In fact, the sect leader regarded him as his own child. This, along with how youths were not as concerned with status and ancestry as elders, they were soon friends. Only a few sentences passed, and everyone started to call others older brothers or younger brothers. Somebody asked, "The Lotus Pier of the Jiang clan is much more fun than here, right?" Wei Wuxian laughed, "Fun or not fun depends on how fun you make it to be. There's definitely less rules than here, and no need to wake up so early." The Gusu Lan sect wakes at 5 in the morning, and rests at 9 in the evening, not allowing any delay. Somebody else asked, "When do you guys wake up? What do you do during the day?" Jiang Cheng humphed him. He wakes at 9 in the morning, and sleeps at 1 during the night. When he wakes up, he doesn't practice his sword or meditate, he goes boating, swims around, picks lotus seed pods, and hunts for pheasants. Wei Wuxian replied, "No matter how much pheasants I hunt, I'm still number 1. One youth spoke, "Next year, I'm going to Yanming to study. Nobody can hold me back." A bucket of cold water was thrown on him. "Nobody would hold you back. Your older brother would just break your legs." The youth drooped at once. This was the second young master of the Qingnai sect, Nai Huaisang. His brother, Nai Mingju, was extremely resolute when carrying out orders, quite renowned in the cultivation world. Although the brothers were not born from the same mother, their relationship was quite solid. Nai Mingju had always taught his younger brother with extreme harshness, particularly caring for his studies. This was why, even though Nai Huaisang respected his older brother, he was the most scared of Nai Mingju mentioning his schoolwork. Wei Wuxian spoke, "To be honest, Gusu is quite fun as well." Nai Huaisang spoke, "Wei Xiong, listen to a sincere advice of mine. The cloud recesses is nothing like Lotus Pier. On this trip to Gusu, remember that there's one person whom you shouldn't provoke." Wei Wuxian asked, "Who?" "Lan Kairan," Nai Huaisang replied, "Not that old man. The one you need to be careful of is his proudest disciple, named Lan Shan." Wei Wuxian spoke, "The Lan Shan from the 2 Jades of Lan." Lan Wangji, the respectable title of the two Jades of Lan, were given to the two sons of the Gusu Lan sect's current sect leader, Lan Huan and Lan Shan. Just after they passed 14, they were deemed by the elders of each sect as exemplary models, to compare with their own disciples. They were exceptionally famous among the juniors, so it was only natural that everyone recognized the names. Nia Huaisang spoke. What other Lan Shan is there? Yes, it's that one. Oh gosh, he's the same age as you and I, but he has none of the energy of a teen. He's stiff and strict, even worse than his uncle. Wei Wuxian made the sound of an O and asked, is he a lad who looks quite pretty? Jiang Cheng sneered, is there anyone who looks ugly in the Gusu Lan sect? His sect doesn't even accept disciples with unclean features. If you can, find me one who has an average face. Wei Wuxian emphasized, very pretty. He pointed at his head, white from top to bottom, wearing a forage ribbon, and carrying a silver sword on his back. He looked rather handsome, but with his straight face, he looked like he was mourning. Nia Huaisang spoke assuredly, that's him. After a pause, he spoke again, but he had been doing secluded meditation for the past few days. You just came yesterday. When did you have the chance to see him? Yesterday night. Yesterday night. Jiang Cheng was stunned. There's a curfew in the cloud recesses. Where did you see him? Why don't I know about this? Wei Wuxian pointed, there. He pointed to the top of the very tall wall. The others were out of speech. Jiang Cheng even felt his head growing larger, and clenched his teeth. We just came, and you got into trouble. What's the matter about? Wei Wuxian replied with a grin, there really isn't much. When we came, we passed that liquor shop called Emperor's Smile, right? Yesterday at night, I was tossing and turning, and couldn't stand it any longer, so I went down the mountain, into the city, and brought back 2 jars. Mind you, we don't have the chance to drink this in Yanming. Jiang Cheng, then, where's the liquor? Wei Wuxian, well, when I just flipped over the top of the wall, before I even had one leg inside, I was caught by him. One youth remarked, Wei Xiong, you must have struck gold. He probably just got out of seclusion, and went on night patrol, and caught you red-handed. Jiang Cheng spoke, those who return at night won't be let in before 7 in the morning. How come he let you inside? Wei Wuxian threw up his hands, so, he didn't let me in. He wanted me to move back the leg that had already stepped in. You tell me, how would I do that? And then, he came up, as light as a feather, and asked me what I had in my hands. Jiang Cheng felt his head start to ache, indicating a foreboding feeling. What did you say? Wei Wuxian spoke, it's Emperor's Smile. If I share a jar with you, can you pretend that you never saw me? Jiang Cheng sighed, alcohol is forbidden in the cloud recesses. That's a worse crime. Wei Wuxian spoke, he said the same thing to me. And I asked, why don't you tell me, what exactly is not forbidden in your sect? He seemed like he was a bit angry, and wanted me to look at the wall of rules in front of the mountain. Honestly, there were over 3,000, and everything was written in seal script. Who had read them? Did you read them? Anyways, I didn't. What's angering about this? That's right. Everyone felt the same way, and all started to complain about the strange, outdated conventions in the cloud recesses, regretting that they didn't meet sooner, whose set rules are over 3,000 in number, and don't even repeat. Things like killing livestock within the area is prohibited, fighting without permission is prohibited, promiscuity is prohibited, venturing at night is prohibited, causing noise is prohibited, running is prohibited are tolerable, but there are even ones like sneering for no reason is prohibited, sitting improperly is prohibited, eating more than 3 bowls is prohibited. Wei Wuxian suddenly added, what? Fighting without permission is also prohibited. Jiang Cheng, yes. Don't tell me you fought with him. Wei Wuxian, I did. And we broke a jar of Emperor's Smile. Everyone slapped their legs and exclaimed in regret. In any case, the situation couldn't have been any worse, causing Jiang Cheng's focus to switch. Didn't you bring back 2 jars? Where's the other one? I drank it. Jiang Cheng, where did you drink it? In front of him. I said, okay, if alcohol is prohibited in the cloud recesses, then I won't go in. I'll drink it standing on the wall. That wouldn't count as violating the rules, would it? Then I drank everything in one gulp, right in front of him. And then we started fighting? Wei Xiong. Nia Huaisang blurted out, you are so smug. Wei Wuxian lifted his brows. Lan Zhan's skills were quite good. You are gonna die, Wei Xiong. Lan Zhan have never been at such a loss before. He's probably after you. You should be careful. Although Lan Zhan doesn't go to classes with us, he's in charge of punishments in the Lan sect. Wei Wuxian was not frightened at all, waving his hand. What's there to be scared of? Didn't everyone say that Lan Zhan had been a prodigy since he was very young? If he's so smart from such an early age, then he probably finished learning everything his uncle taught and do secluded meditation all the time. How would he have time to come after me? Before his sentence was finished, as the group walked around a wall with a hollowed-out window, they saw a white-clothed boy sitting in a rigidly upright position in the room, with long hair tied up and wearing a furry ribbon, emitting an aura of ice and frost. He swept a cold look at them. At once, it was as if the 10 or so mouths were silenced. They quietly entered the room, quietly picked their seats to sit, and quietly avoided the desks around Lan Wangji. Jiang Cheng patted Wei Wuxian's shoulder and whispered, he's after you. Hope for the best. When Wei Wuxian turned his head, he could see the side of Lan Wangji's face. His lashes were long, appearing to be extremely delicate and elegant. His posture was also very upright, looking straight ahead. As he was just thinking about starting a conversation with him, Lan Qiren walked into the room. Lan Qiren was tall and thin, standing with a straight back. Although he had a long, black goatee, he was definitely not old. And, according to the tradition of the Guzulan clan producing beautiful men each generation, he was definitely not bad-looking either. Yet, unfortunately, with the pedantic and stiff air that surrounded him, nothing would feel wrong if one called him an old man. He entered with a scroll in one hand. The long scroll of paper rolled all over the ground as soon as he opened it, and he started to talk about the rules of the Lan sect. The faces of everyone in the room started to grow dark. As Wei Wuxian was bored, his gaze flew everywhere and landed on the side face of Lan Wangji. He was shocked as he saw concentration and seriousness that were nothing like a facade. How can he listen so attentively to something so boring? Immediately, in the front, Lan Qiren slammed the scroll onto the ground and smiled bitterly. I am only repeating this one by one, because nobody reads it, even though it was carved onto the rock wall. Hence, nobody will be able to violate them using ignorance as an excuse again. Even if I do this, there are still people who do not pay attention. Very well, I will proceed to talk about something else. Although his words could be applied to everyone in the room, Wei Wuxian's intuition told him that it was a warning directed at him. As he expected, Lan Qiren spoke. Wei Ling. Wei Wuxian answered, here. Let me ask you. Are Yao, demons, ghosts, and monsters the same things? Wei Wuxian smiled, no. Why not? How are they differentiated? Yao are formed from living, non-human beings. Demons are formed from living humans. Ghosts are formed from dead humans. Monsters are formed from dead, non-human beings. Yao and monsters are often confused. What is an example that distinguishes the two? That's easy. Wei Wuxian pointed at the Viridian tree outside of the room and replied, for example, a living tree was tainted with the energy of books, cultivated into a conscious being, and causes mischief. It would be a Yao. If I took an axe and cut it in the middle, so that only a dead tree stump was left, and then it cultivates into a being, it would be a monster. What was the profession of the progenitor of the King Nai sect? A butcher. The heraldry of the Lan Ningqing sect is a white peony. Which type of white peony is it? Sparks amidst snow. Who was the first in the cultivation world to focus on the rise of his clan, rather than his sect? The progenitor of the Qishan Wen sect, Wen Mao. His fluent answers made everyone's heart skip a few beats. Although they felt lucky, they all prayed for him to not be stumped by any questions, so that Lan Qiren wouldn't have the opportunity to pick on other people. Yet, Lan Qiren spoke as a disciple of the Unmingqiang sect. You should have been very familiar with these, and known them by heart since long ago, so there is nothing to be proud of, even if you answered correctly. Let me ask you again, there is an executioner with parents, a wife, and children, but before he died, he executed more than 100 people.